Tonight on KGW News, a special customer leaves a Portland shop owner starstruck.
Said, hey, I'm Tom Hanks' manager, and he'd like to come by your shop tomorrow.
Also ahead, a mind-boggling hit and run. The driver, police say, fled for miles with his car on fire. What?
Historically, we've seen nothing like it.
She's the local track star making national headlines for beating the boys, including her prom date. But first, this is one busy bear.
Oh my gosh. It's like a Sasquatch sighting.
Because around one Portland park, it's been spotted 6 times. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night. I'm David Moko. Let's get right to those new sightings of a black bear roaming around Forest Park and into some neighborhoods in Northwest Portland. Our Catherine Cook followed up tonight to find out why this time of year seems to bring such close encounters.
We're back to Forest Park, which is apparently bear country now.
I can't even believe this. I can't even believe this.
A KGW viewer took this video of the now infamous black bear crossing Northwest 53rd Drive a couple weeks ago. It incited both dread,
oh my gosh,
and delight.
It's like a Sasquatch sighting.
See him up there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Since then, the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife tells us they've taken 6 reports of black bear sightings in and around Forest Park. That includes this one, the night of May 18th. Security images show a black bear roaming around the garbage cans outside this home on Skyline Boulevard near Saltzman Road. That's near the Fire Lane 5 trailhead.
It's hard to know where it came from, but what brings it to town is certainly food.
Wildlife biologist Ben Cate says this is the time of year, statewide, for most bear conflicts.
It's sort of this period in between when bears wake up from hibernation and prior to a lot of the natural food sources on the landscape being available, the berries and fruiting things that bears are eating over the summer.
Cate says this bear has also hit a couple beehives along Skyline. He says if you live near forested areas, ditch the beehives and bird feeders, lock your garbage cans, and only take them out on trash days, since it appears that's all the bears are after.
Every report that we've received so far, the bear has reacted as we hope it would to people, in that it just ran the other direction when it actually encountered a person.
That includes Kristen Shaw.
Made it a very memorable run.
She, too, spotted the black bear last Thursday while running on Leif Erikson Trail.
I put my arms out and wide. I said, "Bear, get away!" And he heard me, and he didn't want anything to do with the situation either. I think we reacted similarly to each other.
Fish and Wildlife officials posted these signs around Forest Park to warn trail users of bear sightings. Chris Steinbeck and his kids know what to do.
We can make ourselves big, because then they'll be scared of us.
And never go towards the cubs.
As for what else to avoid,
Don't run away. Running away from a predator can potentially trigger that instinct to chase prey.
and none of us
Bro, black bear in Forest Park.
want that.
Okay, in the unlikely event that you're actually attacked by a black bear, wildlife experts say you're supposed to fight back. Do not play dead. Feels really weird saying that, but the more you know. They're hoping this problem will resolve itself once we get into the fruiting season, when there are a lot of berries and other food sources available in the woods. Maybe a picnic basket. David?
Catherine, we have come a long way since Jellystone, haven't we? Thank you for that. Have a great weekend, okay? To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, in Clackamas County, a man is under arrest accused of breaking into 2 homes. The sheriff's office says 48-year-old Ricky Sears first got into a garage on Southeast Cypress Road. Then he was allegedly found in the living room of a different home on Southeast Lark Avenue. Deputies say they tracked Sears to a shed on Kelly Court. They say he had a loaded handgun, ammunition, stolen items, and drugs. In Southeast Portland, police say a 17-year-old was shot. Authorities responded to the call this afternoon outside the Winco store at 79th and Powell. The teenage girl was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Police say they believe the shooting took place a few blocks away at Southeast 75th and Holgate. No word on a suspect. In eastern Oregon, the search is over for a Vancouver man who disappeared during a camping trip. The Baker County Sheriff's Office has confirmed it found the body of 40-year-old Lan Hung Win. He vanished a week ago on a trip with friends to Farewell Bend State Park, that is along the Snake River. Authorities say Win's body was found in the water just downstream from the park. And a driver is under arrest after police say he caused a multi-car crash on the St. John's Bridge. These are photos of the car. Investigators say 22-year-old Andrew Johnson was driving. You can see the front end there completely charred. That is because police say Johnson's car caught fire after he ran into 3 other vehicles. But they say he kept going for 4 miles with flames coming from the hood. He eventually stopped and tried to hide from police in some bushes. Did not work. No one was seriously hurt. Johnson now faces several charges, including driving under the influence. We are learning more tonight about the man accused of setting his own Southwest Portland apartment building on fire, sending his neighbors scrambling for their lives. 30-year-old Garrett Rep pleaded not guilty this afternoon to starting the 4-alarm fire that torched the May apartments. Rep faces 2 counts of arson and multiple counts of reckless endangerment and criminal mischief. We talked to one tenant who said she lived below Rep. She says for months he'd been terrorizing her and her neighbors by pulling the fire alarm. KGW found through public records the alarm was pulled at least 16 times since February, the most recent just 2 days before that fire. We also learned Rep was arrested last month at another apartment building, accused of barricading himself inside his ex-girlfriend's home. We talked to the super at that building today.
Oh, he's very troubled. I'm not a psychologist, but I would use the term sociopath. He's really big time trouble.
Well, the judge ordered that Rep be held without bail. In McMinnville, police have opened a criminal investigation into what sparked a fire at a downtown pizza place. 3rd Street Pizza, which includes a pizzeria and movie theater, sustained significant damage on Wednesday morning, though firefighters were able to keep the flames from spreading to neighboring businesses. Police say they've identified what they call 2 people of interest from surveillance video. Both were interviewed, but for now, no charges or arrests. Well, fresh off the drawing board, we're getting our first look at possible designs for a new interstate bridge. The team is going to call these visualizations, with the disclaimer that they are not final concepts. Don't worry, we're going to zoom in here. There are 6 models to look at. One that's going to remind you of the Glenn Jackson Bridge on I-205. Look familiar there. And then 2 cable bridges, one with the cables encased in concrete housing. Okay, then there is a lift span option that will only be considered if height requirements cannot be worked out with the Coast Guard. And finally, a double-decker design with light rail cyclists and walkers below the roadway. So what do you think? I mean, Program Administrator Greg Johnson says he wants your opinion.
So I'm not going to put a thumb on the scale and say Greg Johnson likes this one or that one, but we do want to hear back from people on what they think.
On to that end, there are public meetings coming up in both Portland and Vancouver. You can check out the designs online, too. By the way, Oregon's portion of the funding for this is held up right now by the Senate walkouts in Salem. Much more info and links at kgw.com. We want to take a few moments tonight to remember the life of a remarkable Oregonian. Catherine Harrison was the matriarch of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. She died on Sunday at the age of 99. Now, back in 2012, our Catherine Cook had the opportunity to sit down with Harrison to learn more about her life. Here is a portion of that story. It picks up after Harrison turned 50 and really made a name for herself.
Settling on the coast, Catherine became active in tribal affairs and was elected secretary. Then came the role she was born to play, her vision quest fulfilled. Catherine joined the effort to restore Native American tribal status. She began each day with a prayer, the same one she prays today.
God help me to do the right thing today to help my family and my people.
Catherine spent years working with tribal leaders and Congress to overturn the Termination Act of 1954, which took away tribes' federal recognition. The journey was long, but Catherine drew strength remembering the hardships her elders had endured. Then, in the fall of 1983, she got a phone call from Congressman Les Coyne.
Catherine, I'm calling to tell you your bill passed. The fight, the 11 years to get the restoration and recognition back, it's just everybody seemed like they walked taller, straighter, more proud, because we were, again, part of the family of Indian nations, nationwide.
And you can watch that full piece. It's up right now on KGW.com. There's also going to be a public memorial for Catherine Harrison. That is 10 a.m. on Sunday, June 4th at Spirit Mountain Casino.